The EU and ASEAN have similar objectives of promoting regional cooperation, economic integration, and peace and stability. They both prioritize dialogue, economic collaboration, and building institutions in their regions. ASEAN, short for the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, brings together 10 member countries in Southeast Asia to promote cooperation, peace, stability, and economic integration in the region. ASEAN, founded in 1967, focuses on talking about political matters, working together on the economy, and exchanging cultures. Decisions are made by reaching a consensus, respecting each member's sovereignty and non-interference. ASEAN was formed in response to geopolitical challenges and regional tensions in Southeast Asia. These challenges included Cold War rivalries, territorial disputes, the threat of communism, ethnic and religious divisions, and economic disparities. Its formation provided a platform for regional collaboration, peace, stability, and economic development. Meanwhile, the EU is a union of 27 European countries formed to promote peace, stability, and economic cooperation. It operates under a supranational system, making binding decisions for member states. The EU has a single market, allowing free movement of goods, services, capital, and people. It uses the euro as its currency in the Eurozone. The EU addresses various issues through policies and institutions governed by the European Council, Commission, and Parliament. It plays a crucial role in shaping Europe's politics, economy, and society. ASEAN and the EU differ in their organizational structures. ASEAN is an intergovernmental organization, while the EU is a supranational organization. The EU has pooled sovereignty in areas like trade and the environment, leading to institutions such as the European Parliament, a court system, a single currency, and a foreign service. The EU's supranational structure enables deeper integration, while ASEAN emphasizes national sovereignty and non-interference. The EU has achieved economic convergence and a single market, while ASEAN takes a more flexible and gradual approach to integration. In general, Southeast Asian governments tend to prioritize regional activities, which can be perceived as self-centered. Many nations in the region have political systems that are affected by corruption, unequal policies, or ruled by dictators, military regimes, or monarchs. These factors make it challenging for countries to engage in merging with others, such as opening borders or pursuing formal mergers with other nations. Europe has experienced numerous troubles and devastating wars throughout its history, including the massive First World War and Second World War, resulting in extensive loss of lives and infrastructure. The region has endured significant pain compared to Southeast Asia and is determined to prevent another war. As a result, there is a strong emphasis on cooperation and development to foster lasting peace and prosperity. So what if ASEAN opens borders with other nations? If ASEAN were to do that, there would be positive things such as enhancing economic cooperations, tourism, and cultural exchanges, but there's a huge problem if ASEAN opens borders like in the European Union. The economic disparities in ASEAN would be a great barrier for that plan. Some of the ASEAN nations have relatively low GDP, meaning high poverty rate. Remember that one of the characteristics of a poor country is rapid rural to urban migration. It means rapid flow of population from poor places to good income places. Illegal migration and human smuggling is still a nowadays problem in ASEAN nations as people from low-income countries try to escape poverty for a better life in wealthier countries. So that would play as a main problem if ASEAN opens borders without optimizing the economic levels of the participants. A huge flow of population from poor countries will pour into rich countries and will ultimately lead to chaos. What if ASEAN uses a single currency like an EU? Economic disparities and huge difference in GDP level is mentioned, it's impossible to use a single currency. For a successful single currency system like in the EU, it is crucial that member countries have a high level of economic integration, where their economies are closely intertwined, minimizing the chances of significant economic disparities between nations. Additionally, effective monetary policy coordination is essential, wherein countries using the same currency must work together under the guidance of a central authority, such as the European Central Bank in the Eurozone, to adopt a consistent approach to interest rates, money supply, and inflation targets across the entire currency area. These measures promote stability and foster a unified economic environment for all member countries. However, ASEAN member countries maintain independent monetary policies, and there is no central monetary authority governing all of them. and ASEAN has made significant strides in economic cooperation through initiatives like the ASEAN Economic Community. The level of integration is not as deep as within the EU. There are still variations in economic development, trade practices, and market regulations among ASEAN member countries. The EU has a stronger supranational structure, with institutions like the European Commission and the European Parliament that have significant decision-making powers over member states. In contrast, ASEAN operates on a consensus-based model, where decisions require unanimity among its member countries, which can sometimes lead to slower progress in certain areas. ASEAN member countries have diverse cultural, political, and socioeconomic backgrounds compared to the relatively more homogeneous EU member countries. This diversity can pose unique challenges in coordinating policies and implementing uniform economic measures. ASEAN's initial focus was on political and security cooperation rather than economic integration, unlike the EU, which was primarily established to promote economic cooperation and prevent conflicts between member states. ASEAN and the EU have distinct historical, cultural, and geopolitical differences. Trying to make ASEAN exactly like the EU may not be feasible or suitable. ASEAN's strength lies in its flexibility, inclusivity, and respect for member states' sovereignty. By building on its own principles, ASEAN can enhance regional cooperation and pursue its unique path towards a brighter future in Southeast Asia. While the EU primarily focuses on economic integration among member states, aiming to create a single market, customs union, and monetary union.